What's up, everybody? Shauna D Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys are having yourselves a great week so far. We are back after a little bit of a hiatus while the Auburn Tigers were on their bye week last week, but we are back because this week is the Deep Souths Oldest Rivalry. Big top 10 Georgia, last I checked, coming into Jordan-Hare Stadium off of win against Kentucky. Auburn coming off their bye. And this game is going to be pretty much energetic. But before we get into that, um, so it came out the other day, probably Sunday, I believe, where, or no, not Sunday. I think maybe actually Monday is when it happened. John Cohen announced that the 2026 game between Auburn and Baylor, instead of being played in Jordan-Hare Stadium, it is going to be played in Atlanta in Mercedes-Benz Stadium as part of the Aflac kickoff. And there's two sides to this. You can be like, okay, that's pretty cool, and you're like, okay, that's not cool. Like I can understand, you know, the decision to do this. I believe John Cohen said it's like earn up to like five, six, $7, $8 million for the Auburn players, and doing like commercials and stuff like that, promoting the game and then things like that. That is an opportunity for them to earn some extra third party NIL. A lot of people are upset because you're taking this game out of Auburn and putting it in Atlanta without all the money that's going to be spent for fans and everything is going to be spent there. The community of Auburn isn't going to get anything out of it, and like I can understand you being mad about that, doing. And to be fair, it is kind of it's not cool at all. I would have rather this have been something like 2027 or 2028, because Auburn doesn't have anybody slated for those 2 years yet as far as opponents. Like, you already had Baylor, and then to go from not only the Auburn community benefiting from all the people that are going to go to the game, but obviously the Baylor fans won't get a chance to experience Auburn itself, the community of Auburn. And so you kind of take that out of the hands, and like you can be understanding, and look, you can see both sides and understand both sides of it. And I like this is the way college football is nowadays. So like it does suck. I can understand why it sucks. I just think if you would have did this better, I don't know about, I don't know better is the right word, but I just think if you would have, I think if like this is the first of its kind that Auburn is doing, so they're kind of the spearhead into this, so that is pretty cool that Auburn is doing something like this that hasn't been done yet. And obviously it'll probably happen with other teams down the line, but it is pretty cool that Auburn is kind of the at the front of something like this. But yeah, we'll see. Like, obviously, everybody, people have their opinions about it and things like that. But I mean, there's not much else I can really say about it. But I just wanted to like quickly dive into that real quick. But anyway, back to the game. All right, so the Auburn Georgia game. This is gonna be a big day because they're also retiring Cam Newton's jersey. I would have maybe have I would have rather this been done on a different maybe day or different game other than the Georgia game, just because, listen, a lot of people, probably aren't feeling that confident. Now, Georgia is gettable. That is clear, and this is not the same Georgia team that we have seen over the years. They are a very gettable team. Obviously, we saw how they played against Alabama, um, but there's opportunities here. Auburn can definitely, you know, if their offensive game plan is solid, Auburn has a chance to win the game. But the defense is going to keep you in this game for sure. Like, I have no problem when it comes down to the fourth quarter, Auburn being out of the game, because the defense is going to do everything in its power to keep Auburn in the game. And so it all just comes down to the offense. Can the offense finally get their crap together and become the offense that we expected to see at the start of the season? We all thought, when it came down, when we saw the Baylor game, we thought Hugh Freeze maybe turned a leaf in the way he called plays. He leaned on the run game, and that was a strength of the team. And technically, I would definitely say, probably a lot more other people too, the run game is the core strength of this team right now. It just is. Like, you can be like, I understand you got Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton. I can understand that, but the running the ball is the core function of this offense right now. We saw it against Baylor, and then we just didn't see it against Oklahoma and Texas A&M. And a lot of people had those games pegged as losses anyway. But the issue a lot of people had, it was that it's the way you lost those games is what people are so frustrated about. So, like, you had opportunities to be undefeated going into this game, but because the offense just struggling, not so much with Oklahoma, because there were some other things about that one, but really the Texas A&M one is the one that really grinds people's gears, because you didn't really do anything offensively. Your defense gifted you an interception and was able to get it down into the 5 and give you an easy position, put yourself in an easy position to get an easy touchdown. And so, like, to beat Georgia, Jackson Arnold's gonna have to play great, and I do feel like Jackson does get a lot of flack for a lot of things. He's not the core issue. I will probably say it's this offensive coaching staff that is the issue, not seeming to have guys ready to go. Sometimes the play calling is just like, it doesn't make sense, and I think we've passed the ball so much more than we have run the ball. Like, it is utterly ridiculous. I would probably say this has been like in like a maybe 75-80% pass to 20% run. Like, we have just not run the ball at all. And, like, you remember the Texas A&M game, Auburn, the first quarter at least, Auburn's running backs didn't have a single touch. Now, Jeremiah Cobb, he technically did have a touch, but it was called back for holding or some kind of offensive penalty. The offensive line has got to play better. And, Hugh Freeze talked about Xavier Chaplin potentially having hearing issues. I don't know if it took 2 games, 2 losses to come to that realization. I don't know. I just don't know about something like that. Obviously, I'm not Xavier Chaplin. I'm not there, so I can't really say for sure. But maybe they worked on stuff to correct that and get that fixed. Like, and not only that, you've had 2 weeks. So, like, what have you done in these 2 weeks that's going to give Auburn fans any kind of hope that they can beat Georgia? Because, like, I guess, like, Gunnar Stockton isn't he's a good quarterback, but he is not a spectacular quarterback. He's not a Justin Fields. He's not a Carson Beck. He is just a good college quarterback. Like he made some plays and he missed some plays as also. He played great against Tennessee, against Alabama. Yeah, I thought he played relatively good. He missed some throws, obviously. Georgia's offensive line is not that great. Auburn has a clear advantage right there with their defensive line. And I feel like I still have not seen much out of even though they maybe a little bit better than they were in previous years. I still have not seen much out of the Georgia wide receiver core that makes me like very nervous. Now Georgia could probably still run the ball with Nate Frazier, but Auburn's been relatively good. Now, obviously, I know the Texas A&M game, that would probably say that's maybe like an outlier compared to what we've seen the Auburn run defense has been this season. Um, but I trust Auburn to stop the run relatively easy, make Carson Beck beat him through the air. Everybody should be healthy in this game too. Like everybody, probably with the exception of like Horatio Fields and Darrell Robinson. But other than that, everybody should be healthy and good to go for this game. Um, I texted my friend Colby at the beginning of the season. This was probably like a day or two before the Baylor game. And he asked me my thoughts about the season. And I told him that, um, I felt good about beating Baylor, obviously the cupcakes. And then I told him I felt like we need to split the Oklahoma and Texas A&M game. But I really feel like Auburn can get Georgia this season. Um, I still think that's true. I still think Auburn can get Georgia, but it's going to require like the play calling has to be like it has got to be better than what we have seen in the losses to Oklahoma and Texas A&M. Like Jackson has got to let go of the ball. Can we get some like shorter, quicker passing concepts out there to kind of like get him to get rid of kind of force him to get rid of the ball early, that kind of stuff. And then just run the ball. It doesn't matter if you run it three like for first down, you get 3 yards. Second down, you get 3 yards. Well, guess what? You're 3rd and 4. Auburn has been getting stuck in like 3rd and 11 a lot in those two losses to Texas A&M and Oklahoma. Penalties, got to clean that up. They weren't as bad as the Oklahoma ones, but they were still relatively high. I think they were close to maybe like 8 or 9. I think it was maybe like 8. I think it was like maybe 8 or 9 penalties in the Texas A&M game. But you're at home, and this is a night game. Fans are already like the energy is going to be there. Can Auburn, from the offensive side of things, match that energy and keep people engaged all the way through the fourth quarter? Because again, like I said at the beginning, your defense is going to give you ample opportunities to stay in this game. I think Auburn needs to, I would say from a turnover perspective, I think Auburn needs to get at least 2 turnovers. Like Auburn's been relatively good with not turning the ball over these first couple of games of the season. So that is like Jackson Arnold has not thrown an interception at all. So I think if you can get at least 2 turnovers, get yourself some nice field position, and get touchdowns, you can easily win the game. You can definitely win the game. I don't really have a score prediction. I don't know. It's just because of what I've seen the past 2 games with this Auburn team. It's hard to really know what I'm going to get and feel confident in my prediction. Um, but I mean, we all knew this stretch was going to be rough anyway at the beginning of the season, having to play A&M, Oklahoma, and Georgia. But like now you look at the other games because you got Missouri, who's undefeated right now. They play Alabama this Saturday. You play them next week. Uh, Vanderbilt, they're not undefeated, but they're ranked. They looked relatively good this season. Arkansas fired Sam Pittman. Bobby Petrino's the guy now. They're not as a head coach, but he's the guy there as the interim offensively. Who knows what they're going to look like overall? Because I think Travis Williams was also fired. So who knows what they're going to look like offensively and defensively when Auburn travels to Fayetteville. I mean, Kentucky still, they're not good, but they can still put up a fight for sure. And then obviously there's Alabama, who seems to look like their old selves and stuff like that. So I don't know. Like I don't know if this is a must win, given the fact that like a lot of people probably already had picked Auburn to lose this game, potentially go into the final stretch with 3 losses with an opportunity to win your next 5 games, and depending on how the Iron Bowl goes, because you can still like prediction of either going 8-4 or 9-3 are still there, but I don't know. I don't know. I hope the Auburn offense shows up. Hope we look good. Like even if Auburn loses, I hope offensively they look competent in what they're doing. Um, because Auburn has not been blown out of these games like the past two seasons, like this season and last season. Auburn overall has not been blown out of games. They have always been like within a single score or two of these games. And then this season, you lost to Oklahoma by a touchdown. You lost to Texas A&M by 6 points. Like if we can get some competent offensive game planning and play calling, this Auburn team can be really dangerous. But we'll just see how that looks on Saturday at kickoff against Georgia. But that is relatively it, guys. Just wanted to do my quick little weekly video of this. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a good one.